Hi, this is Welcome to Self, and I'm your host, Dr Hayley D. Quinn, the anti-burnout business coach. I'm a speaker, author, former clinical psychologist, and late identified ADHDer. Welcome to Self is a podcast for business owners like you who want success, but not at the cost of your well-being. This is about transforming self and transforming business. I'll be here to remind you that you're human first, and as well as being a business owner, you have different roles in your life that need your attention. And to manage those well, you need to take care of yourself in the best way possible. Here you'll learn about practices that'll help you navigate not just your business, but your non-work life as well. And you'll realise that you're not alone in the ways you struggle. You'll have your curiosity piqued on various topics as I chat with wonderful guests and bring you solo bite-sized episodes. I'm here for service-based business owners and entrepreneurs like you to help you increase your self-care and compassion, change your relationship with yourself and your business, and elevate your business to a new level so you can live the full and meaningful life you desire. This is a place of nourishment, growth, and helpful information. A place where you can learn ways to assist you and your business to thrive. We'll talk all things mindset, strategy, and well-being, and I'm so excited you're here. If you haven't already, go and hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. So let's get started. Hi, and welcome to another episode. This episode was recorded at the end of 2025 in readiness for this season. It's always nice to have some episodes in the bank so life and business doesn't feel so rushed. I met my next guest in a mastermind and we've stayed in touch, and I've also had the pleasure of attending one of her workshops and her book launch. She's my unofficial book buddy. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Sally Prosser. Sally is a sought-after voice and public speaking coach, speechwriter, author of VoicePrint, and founder of Soul Speakers, a global community helping people speak from the heart with confidence. Sally opened a speech and drama school at just 16 and has been empowering speakers, leaders, and creatives ever since, on stage, on camera, and in life. A former TV and radio news reporter, corporate spokesperson, and award-winning entrepreneur, Sally understands the power of voice in shaping influence. With qualifications in speech and drama, journalism, law, NLP, hypnosis, and Reiki, she blends technical expertise with energetic alignment for truly transformative communication. It's with great pleasure I welcome Sally to the podcast. Hi, Sally. Thank you so much for joining me.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you for that introduction.
So could you start by giving us some insight into who you are and why you're so passionate about voice work?
My mum tells me that I was born microphone first. Ever since I was a young child, I was wanting to do little performances, and I remember one Christmas I said, I want from Santa a microphone with a stand. And when it arrived, the first thing I did was a thank you speech for Santa for coming along. And so it's one of those stories where I really feel like it's a mission that I've been born with. I don't know why it's been sent my way, but I've always loved it and always wanted to speak. Throughout school was public speaking, debating, all of those things. So it was no surprise at all when I went into journalism.
Yeah.
Law, didn't end up being a lawyer, spent too much time at the actual bar instead of the legal bar back at university. And then, as you mentioned, a company spokesperson and then now running this business. So voice and this passion to help people release their voice has been a common thread throughout my whole life. And because it was a passion that I discovered quite young, the advantage of that is I was able to make many, many mistakes along the way. So I feel in lots of ways what makes me so effective in coaching this is because everything that somebody fears, I can almost guarantee I've been there and got through that.
Yeah, fantastic. And what do you think gets in the way of people using their authentic voice?
themselves.
Yeah.
It's the inner voice. The inner voice is always going to sabotage the physical voice. You know, your sound is supported or sabotaged before it's even made.
Yeah.
And it's these thoughts, these blocks that get in the way of the voice that's always there. You know, your voice is your organ of your soul. And if we stop to listen, we know what we want to say. And part of it is skills and practice, definitely learning the skills and practicing it. But a lot of it is removing these stories that we've told ourselves that create a block. Who wants to listen to me? What will people think? Somebody else is already talking about that. Who finds my story interesting? All of those little voices in our head that block the way for our magical inner voice to come out.
Yeah. And I'm sure you talk about that in your debut book, VoicePrint, as well. That sneaky inner critic, I mean, it can really get in the way, not just of us speaking with our authentic voice, but in the way we want to live our life as well. So I think you and I certainly have a lot in common there, where we sort of recognise that people get in their own way. I know I have a journal that says, get out of your own damn way, that reminds me to pay attention to what's happening with me and if I'm actually getting in my own way with things.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just flicking through the book now because I do write about your speaking story. What is the speaking story that you've set up for yourself, the narrative of how things should be? And that's often, you know, silence equals safety for people who have been perhaps brought up in a violent household or in a tumultuous environment. It might be a sibling that's always spoken up for them.
Yeah.
And so the story is, oh no, they always speak for me. I can't do this. It might be the story of you're not smart enough to talk about that. So the last time you spoke up, someone said, well, that was a stupid question, or why would you ask that? So I learnt that it was just better not to say anything.
Yeah.
And as I have here, I found the page, we rarely bring only one voice to the table. A whole chorus of inner critics, imposters, judges, perfectionists, and people pleasers often drown out the one true voice we need to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that speaks to so many aspects of life as well. And certainly a lot of the work I do with people. And what do you think might be some of the advantages of learning to use our voice more effectively, particularly in business? A lot of people that listen to the podcast are people in business. So what might be some of the advantages of us learning to do this?
Oh, Hayley, it's more than advantages. It's absolutely essential. You know, we talk a lot about business visibility. How visible are you? But what about business audibility? Because hearing someone's voice is the closest thing to touching them. Now, that sounds a bit gross, but we're like looking for connection here when we're putting ourselves out there. And especially with the rise of AI, if you think of online, for example, if you're seeing a photo and a caption, you don't really know if it's the person even behind that post. But when we hear someone's voice, it cuts through any of that skepticism, you could say.
Yeah.
And we really can trust that person. It's really high for a trust factor.
Yeah.
We can also learn so much about the person. When we hear a voice, we can immediately get a sense of identity of who you are. I know in the past I've been quite interested in a business online, and I've been scouring, trying to find what is their name, where are they from, are they Australia based, are they, I don't know if you've had that similar scenario. And I've been sent on this little bit of a detective hunt to just get to know a bit more about this person. And if they just had some more content that was audio, whether it be a podcast or on a video, I'd immediately be able to make that connection.
Yeah.
And place who they are and where they're from and maybe part of their story, and hear if that resonates with me.
Yeah.
Because our voice isn't supposed to resonate with everyone. And so using your voice is a really effective way to attract who you want to work with and who connects with you, and also not push away, but let people know who might not resonate with you, that you're not for them. It's like that magnet. You attract what you like and reject the rest.
Yeah, I think you're so right as well. The way technology is taking over, we are looking for more and more human connection, and seeing. I'll often say to people who, if I'm working with them and they're not even posting a picture of themselves, they're just doing the content work. It's like, put something of yourself out there. At least let people see who you are, and then there's this next level, isn't there? And then let them hear who you are. But I know, and it was certainly the way for me as well. Before I started doing lots of reels and had my podcast, I felt really anxious about doing that sort of stuff. I didn't want to do that. And I know that people can feel like that. So what are some tips you have for people who do feel anxious about speaking, whether that is on social media, on stages, within their business, or even amongst conversations with family and friends? What might be some good kind of tips for people?
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll probably notice it's, certain scenarios or certain people that you might be more anxious to speak in front of. So it's about getting beneath the surface level of, oh, I don't really like to speak, or I'm the quiet one, or whatever the story is that you put on the surface. Very few people are legitimately afraid of public speaking. It's the public speaking that allows whatever is under the surface to come out, which is why speaking work is so great for healing and well-being, because it gives you that opportunity to process and channel things that you might not otherwise have looked at. So, for example, underneath the I don't really like to post videos or I feel anxious putting myself out there is usually a fear around being heard, this fear of exposure. And then we can go beneath that and say, well, what are you afraid of exposing? Yeah. Why are you afraid of being seen? Is it what people will say? What do you fear that they'll say? Yeah. And sometimes it goes right down to it's just a story in your head that you've created about something funny about your hair. Or I've worked with clients who just felt so anxious because a redness developed on their chest when they spoke.
Yeah.
It's quite common. And I said, oh, look, we'll just call it out. Just name it. So naming it's a good one. Name it to claim it, where you can say, oh, look, sometimes I get a little bit red here. Don't worry, we'll continue on. It's all fine. Yeah. People really do want this realness over it being flawless. Yeah, and you spoke about with the rise of AI and technology, it's becoming even more important to the point where, and I'll just share this little secret here on your podcast, Hayley. Sometimes when I speak professionally, I intentionally put in stumbles. Yeah. I intentionally put in stumbles because there was a webinar early on in my business where I had a grand total of 2 people or something like that. Yeah, I was excited, I'm doing this exercise where you flop down to the ground and you're building yourself up vertebrae by vertebrae. I couldn't say vertebrae by vertebrae. Can hardly even say it now. Anyway, so it was this big stumble, and I had this little catastrophic spiral where I was in my mind was, oh no, this is terrible. I'm supposed to be a speaking coach. They're going to hate me. They're going to want their money back, even though it was a free webinar. What a disaster. Shut the business down now. And somebody one of the 2 people came off mute and said, Sal, are you live? And I said, sorry, yes. It was a meeting, they joined the meeting. They said, oh, you were just presenting so perfectly. I assumed it must have been a pre-record. So I said, oh, no, hello, here I am. And it created such a moment of connection, a moment of rapport that they ended up becoming long-term clients. And so it's really this invitation that often the very thing you fear is the very thing that will create the outcome you're looking for.
Absolutely. And I've spoken to a lot of people who they'll do a talk or have to perform something and they think they have looked really nervous or that people could see them shaking. And it's like, well, actually not at all. You nailed it. You didn't look nervous at all. And they're like, oh my goodness, internally. And I've had it myself where you think that people can see how you're feeling and often people can't see that at all. But then there's also that piece as well about being really real. And that's feedback I've had in the past as well, that it's that humanness that adds something to what you're doing. People aren't looking for perfection, are they? I mean, let's face it, so many people get caught up in perfectionism and worrying they're not good enough, that they don't want to be surrounded by perfectionists. You don't want to be surrounded by people who never get anything wrong or do everything perfectly. So I think when we can bring our humanness to everything that we do, it is so much better. And it takes the pressure off us, right?
Oh, absolutely. And like, I used to be a perfectionist growing up.
So,
very annoying personality type. Like, no one wants to be around a perfectionist. And that's partly why we've connected so well, because we're just so real with each other and we can just, cut through. I understand in the beginning. So if you're listening and you're in the beginning stages of business, what I would share is it is easier once you've validated things. So when you're starting to put content out, if anybody's in this stage, rather than feel like, oh, I'm a bad speaker, or no one listened to this video, or, put it back on yourself, just treat it like an experiment. In the beginning, you're just validating ideas.
Yeah.
And I've found in my business, so much of the content I created helped me clarify what clients I wanted to work with and what my message was. Some of the advice is, you need to be very clear on your message before you go out with it. From my perspective, I feel like women especially, we get clarity through conversation and through speaking. And that process of creation and not creating very well. Like, if anyone has too much time on their hands and they want to scroll back to my early Instagram or my early TikToks, like, you'll see what I mean. They're like pretty bad, but that's okay. You have to do that to get to where you are. So you can't be comparing your chapter 1 with someone else's chapter 20, because that's how they got there. It was through the doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, we evolve and we get clarity through the process of doing the things we do, learning what isn't working, learning how to get through something that might feel a little terrifying, like perhaps if you're going to speak on stage for the first time or something, or even have a conversation with somebody that might seem difficult. But knowing that you can do that, and then you can have an opportunity to reflect and say, okay, well, how did that go for me? What would I do differently next time?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and you can practice in the shower as well.
You can what, sorry?
Like, practice in the shower. Like difficult conversations. You've got that conversation where you're going, okay, this is how I'm going to say it, and you have the little practice. You can do that with lots of different speaking scenarios. So it can be in front of the mirror. It can be even just on your phone in the record section as well. So it is powerful to be witnessed, which is why groups like mine, which is Soul Speakers, is a really great place where we have sessions where you can come along and practice your introductions or your speeches or anything like that. And there's real power in being witnessed by a safe group. But you can also practice on your own as well. Just start speaking.
Yeah. And your workshop, I attended your Speak Up for Your Business workshop, which was great. Really, really lovely, kind of intimate group, lots of opportunities to practice speaking and practice getting over your brain shutting down, as mine did during your workshop.
Oh, that was such a great, Hayley, that was such a genuine moment. And every single other woman in that room commented to me about how powerful that moment was, where you were able to say, hang on a minute, the words aren't coming. give me a moment.
So you run a business, Sally, where you do your one-on-one coaching, you do your workshops, you run your membership group, and you travel a lot. You run these workshops overseas, nationally, internationally. How do you take care of yourself to be able to do that? Because a lot of the time I like to come back to, how do we take care of ourselves as women in business? So how do you do that?
I have a very supportive partner, which helps. And I have learned that the most powerful skill in business has been becoming a master of my energy. So it's not time management, it's energy management. Yeah. And so I spend a lot of time being really in tune with my body. I mean, when I say in tune, it started with just my mind's talking to my body. just feeling that reconnection, to the point where now I'm pretty good at saying, what do I need in this moment? Do I need movement, water, rest, food? Call a friend, phone a friend, right? Connection. And when you can become really good at what you need, it's sort of like you're parenting yourself in many ways. Then you are able to be that master of your energy and know what you need to do. With travel, for example, do what's right for you. People will say what you should and shouldn't do all the time. Flying, I've heard lots of people say, oh, that's where you get your biggest inspiration and you can write your best ideas and you can do all this work, you can make use of this time. Nah, I get on a plane, I'm like, this is just, mandated rest. I love it. I put a movie on.
Same.
Have a drink. I'm not journaling or doing any sort of planning. For other people, fantastic. But for me, that's what I do. And then it's making sure that if I am traveling for something, get there the night before, give yourself plenty of time to get to the venue. Really just remove any of the logistics that might otherwise cause a stress. I've found with people that I work with, often when there's been pressure on the speaking performance, it's been because of a lack of preparation and planning. It's just like flying itself. You can't land at the airport at the time the plane takes off. Yeah. You'll miss the flight. And I mean, I'm sure we've all been in that position where we've got to the airport and we're kind of a little bit fine and the heart rate's a little bit high and you're kind of a little bit more frazzled. We want to get to our speaking scenario and also travel with calmness. There's plenty of time to move through security, get to the lounge, get to the plane, get to the venue. Yeah. And we can't help the curveballs that life inevitably throws us. But I do believe that we can have our hands up, ready, and be proactive rather than reactive to the day.
Yeah, gosh, that resonates a lot. A lot of the work I do is really about understanding yourself and tuning in and changing that relationship with yourself so that you can ask yourself, what do I need right now? And then know what are the sorts of things you need. I mean, some people can thrive quite well on that last minute getting to the airport. That would not be me at all. I need to pack many days in advance, although there'll always be some things I'm throwing in at the last minute. But having that time and space, so really understanding what you need as an individual in terms of creating that space around what you're doing. And checking in, like you say, checking in with yourself. What do you need in those moments?
Yeah, unapologetic calendar protection as well. Yeah. Unapologetic calendar protection. I've found that in the past, and I'm sure people listening can relate to this, where you'll have an afternoon earmarked for potentially practicing your speech or traveling to a venue or going to Pilates or something. Yeah. But then something will creep in. There'll be a little demand on your time. Oh, can you have a call? Can we do this? Can we do that? And this is where you have to be like, no, like don't bump on the calendar, and hold that boundary to ensure that you can show up when you need to. Of course, I'm a coach, and if somebody rings me and really needs Hayley, if you message me and said, Sal, I really need some help with something. Yeah. If it's urgent, you can make time. So it's not like you never make time for anything, but I've found with some clients I work with, I'm sure Hayley with you as well, some people are just, it's so easy for their calendar to be breached with things that creep in.
Absolutely. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? I've got a thing in my book around the difference between needs and wants. And somebody might say, I need to see you at 5 o'clock on Friday. But actually what they mean is I want to see you at 5 o'clock on Friday because that's the only time I can see you, unless it's an emergency. And if it's not an emergency, it's a want, not a need. And I think what you're saying is really paying attention to, I need to protect the calendar time. And if something is asked of me during that, I need to be really clear about whether that's something that really does need to knock off what I was going to be doing. Because then where are you going to put that in? Because I mean, if we're, say, going to do a speech or something and you're feeling frazzled and your nervous system is dysregulated, it's going to be much harder, isn't it, to stand there and do the thing that you need to do than if you do have some time and space.
Yeah, and it is challenging. I work with professionals who are in executive positions, and they're working with me to present to the board.
Yeah.
And I say to them, you're at least the half an hour before you're on, you need to block out. Like, you need to be able to think, to get in the zone, to have something to drink, to do your voice warm-ups and be ready. And people will be saying, I need to see you. Meetings might run over, but you treat it like the plane is taking off.
Yeah.
You know, you don't sort of, although you see airports these days, there's people taking calls even as they're getting on the plane. My goodness, plane Wi-Fi, worst invention ever. But really treating the preparation time as sacred as the execution time.
Yeah.
That's what I would say, for want of a better word than execution time, but you know what I mean? The same as delivery time. Preparation time is as sacred as delivery time, and is as sacred as debrief time as well. It's really important that we take that time with ourselves to check in, and I call it the post-speaking ritual. It might be a glass of wine, it might be a cup of tea, it might be a bubble bath, it might be lighting a candle, just taking that moment to go, okay, what was great? What could I do better for next time? And closing that out, because if we don't close the loop, then that's what can open the way for us overthinking and stressing about things later on.
Yeah.
So honouring the whole cycle.
Yeah. And absolutely. I mean, after things, particularly if it's like a speaking event or something, or a meeting, an important meeting that you've had to have, or a difficult conversation, that's a prime time for your self-critic to jump in and start really having a go. So I think that's really important, that kind of debrief, and bringing compassion into that can be really helpful. And then also celebrating. You know, a lot of the time, particularly as women, I think we don't celebrate our achievements. And I think that's such an important thing. It was so beautiful to get to share in your celebration of your launch for VoicePrint. And I was very honoured to have a small speaking part of that, which was very lovely and very humbling. But also then on the day, you had said that you wanted to get your book in the hands of Oprah Winfrey. And did we think you could do it? And we were all like, yes, you can do it, Sally. And lo and behold, I think it was the next day, you did get your book in the hands of Oprah Winfrey, which is fantastic. But I imagine you didn't have a lot of preparation time with that. So we were just talking before about how important it is to prepare. So tell us about your Oprah moment, and what was it that helped you do that? Because not everybody could just walk up to Oprah and feel confident enough to say, and everybody, well, not everybody, but I imagine there's a lot of people that have an Oprah moment they might think about. It might not be meeting Oprah Winfrey, but it'll be something. So what helped you do that?
Oh, well, I do explain it all in an episode of my podcast, which is called That Voice Podcast, and it was how I manifested meeting Oprah. So if you'd like the full version, I'd encourage you to check that out. For me, it came down to three main things. The first thing was intention. So we did mention it at the launch, but I'd actually written it down at another conference. I've got the book nearby, actually. There was an exercise, what's your gold medal moment? At Ignite, we were there together.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember the gold medal moment that Natalie Cook spoke about? Inside that was give my book to Oprah.
Fantastic.
I've got it written down. And then even before that, because we'd bought tickets to go and see her, it was my mum who was like, oh, honey, you know who'd be good to give your book to? Oprah. She's all about the power of your voice. Like, she just said it like so casually. I'm like, yes, mum, I'll just, pop it in her mailbox. Hello. So the intention had been set long before. And then the next part of it was the action.
Yeah.
So as you say, I wasn't really prepared for this moment. After the amazing book launch, which I really resonated when you said it's how important it is to celebrate. And that's why I decided to do a big book launch, because it wasn't just a celebration of my own book, but just a celebration of all business owners and all voices, and it was in December. It was a chance for us to celebrate. So the next morning, I had one of those showers, which is like skincare on, wash my hair with a comb through it, no bra on. You know those days where you're like just refreshed and you're ready to be in the house all day?
Yep.
That was that. And I happened to be messaging Katrina Blowers, who was our amazing host at the book launch, because I needed to get a photo of her. Like I was just messaging her to be like, can you send us that great photo that you got? We got, and she sent it through, and I was sending it to another publication in Brisbane. And she said, fantastic for getting media coverage. And I said, oh, thank you. It's just a local paper. I'm not giving up on Oprah. And she said, I just met her. She's so, so nice. Katrina works for Channel 7 and had been stationed down at South Bank outside her hotel to, cover the Oprah in Brisbane story. Yeah. And it wasn't at that stage that she said, come down here. I said, oh, any idea how I could, get my book to Oprah? She said, well, come on down. She's just gone for a walk. I said, really? I've got the messages, really? Question mark, question mark. And then Katrina wrote, fortune favors the brave.
Yeah.
And I'm across the other side of the city, and it was such a long shot. I just threw on some shoes, grabbed the keys. I'd already written Oprah a note inside a book. I'd already written her a note and put it inside a book and had it on my desk, just in case she popped in. So then I had that, and so in that way I was very prepared. Grabbed it, ran out of the hallway, was ordering an Uber on the way, saw where he was coming from and started sprinting in his direction, jumped in, and I didn't waste any time, because could you imagine if I had have been, doing foundation or something and then I missed Oprah by 5 minutes? You'd never forgive yourself. So I took action and went there, and then sure enough, she was coming back from her walk. I walked right up to her. Hi, Oprah. My name's Sally. My mum and I enjoyed watching your show growing up, and we're looking forward to seeing you tonight. And that's when she said, oh, what's your mother's name? Mum's name is Sue, but I went all like formal. I was like, Susan, kind of like it was royal protocol. And then the crazy moment was she said, VoicePrint. What a nice idea. Really cool. And then turned it around to the cameras and said like the word VoicePrint 3 times. And I had an out-of-body experience, and I think it's my most nerve-wracking speaking gig to date. So the full story is on the podcast. So it was the intention, the action, and Hayley, you played a part in this. It was the energetics. I believe that if it had have been the day after me just lolling around on a Sunday, it wouldn't have happened. I feel like the launch, where I was in what I call celebrity energy. Do you remember I was joking to you because I was standing there and signing books and taking photos for about 2 hours straight? And so I was saying, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm in like celebrity energy. And it was such a good energy in that event. So many people shared voices. The venue was beautiful. And even though I had had my shower and was casual the next day, I really believe that the energy of Sunday lifted me to the level where I was able to scrape the bottom of Oprah's incredible aura. Yeah. And we met.
That's fantastic. I'm so thrilled for you. That's wonderful. And I hope it leads to lots and lots of book sales for you as well. So before we get to where people can find your book and find you, I want to ask you a question I ask all my guests. It's one of my favourite questions. If you could meet your 80-year-old self today, what do you think she would say to you?
I'm so proud to say this right now. It's such a poignant question. Hayley, thank you for that. I think she would say, I'm so damn proud of you. She would. She'd be like, you're doing it. You're living your soul's mission. You've written your book amongst very challenging personal situation as well. As you know, we've had a death in the family and lots of other challenges. And you're doing your best, and you're doing a pretty great job. And I don't know if there's many times in my life where I'll be able to say that. So you've caught me at a great moment, Hayley.
Oh, fantastic. I think you have many, many things to feel proud of and to celebrate. for yourself as well. And it's been lovely to be part of those celebrations with you. If people want to find your book, which they should, I have, at the time of recording this, I'm through part 1, eagerly about to start part 2. It's such a beautiful, easy read as well.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm getting that feedback quite a lot, which means a lot. So it's big print, small chapters. So if you're into that kind of book, it's also handbag size.
Yeah, and it's lovely. It's got lots of really useful information, but and your humour throughout as well. So that's fantastic. So where can people find the book, and where can people find out more about you? And I'll also put everything in the show notes.
Oh, thank you. So VoicePrint, 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 and you can get that pretty much anywhere you get your books. So Amazon, Goodreads. Oh gosh, I should know all the stores, shouldn't I? Demix. Pretty much anywhere you get your books. Booktopia, Barnes and Noble.
So a friend of mine just told me about bookshop.org, which is available worldwide, and you can buy through bookshop.org online, and then they donate money to local independent bookstores.
How cool is that? That's so great. If you can't find it, just search Sally Prosser Voice. I'm on all the platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'd love to hear a message from you. And I also have the VoicePrint Codes Oracle cards. So if you're into something more tangible, it's a really beautiful companion to the book. So you can also buy the Oracle cards. And if you're outside of Australia or New Zealand, you'll just have to get in touch with me. The link is on my website, and these can't be print on demand, of course, so I'll be packaging them for you right from the comfort of my office where I am right now.
Fantastic. And you've got an audiobook as well?
I do, and it's out on Spotify, and I'm just waging the mysterious war with Audible to find out where it's up to. So hopefully by the time this airs, it's also on Audible.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Sally. It's been such a pleasure to have you on the podcast. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. It's been wonderful.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode. I'll be back next week with another solo episode. In the meantime, go well and go gently with yourselves. Bye. Thanks for sharing this time with me today. I hope it's been helpful and supportive. If there's been something in this episode that you have found helpful, I encourage you to share it with your business besties so they can benefit too. Shares, ratings and reviews really help to increase awareness and reach of the podcast, meaning more people can benefit from the information. I really appreciate you taking the time. If you'd like to know about the ways we can work together, check out my website at drhayleydquinn.com. I'll pop the link in the show notes, and you can also join my mailing list from there and be kept up to date with all that is happening. I do need to say, because legal stuff, this podcast is solely for the purpose of education and entertainment. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for individual advice or advice of health professionals or other qualified professionals. Okay, now we've got that formal stuff out of the way. I love hearing from listeners, so don't be shy. Reach out and let me know your thoughts on the episode or what else you'd like to hear about. I wish you well in your relationship with yourself and your business, and may you go well and go gently. And remember, if you thrive, your business will too.